You're gonna have to move. You're gonna have to not sit there because your head's getting. Don't hit the camera. Talk a little bit about the first one is a hard one. The second question is an easy one, or a different one. Talk a little bit about being an athlete and what's involved in being an athlete. Today we saw somebody go down, was hurt, out for a couple of games, you might say. Talk about how athletically it's important, and in your case, one of the reasons that you can do this at such an old age is that you are very athletic, obviously, or else you wouldn't be able to do it. So, just talk amongst yourselves. Tell me, whatever. What do you think about it?
I'm like the grandmother. Shut up.
But you're athletic. You told me the other day you haven't been injured. Well, talk to each other about that. What do you tell each other?
I've never been injured for longer than 2 weeks, and that's I'm really proud of because I'm 30 something or other, and I'm just really happy that my career hasn't been stopped by some horrible injury. I know so many young kids who get surgery on their knees, ankles,
14 years old.
in their training years, and that's a hard beginning. Just being 30 and having, only got a twisted ankle and you're out for 2 weeks, and you have to come back and you can tape it, and it hurts, but you do it, and it's okay.
I think I learned the hard way because a couple years ago I had pretty serious stress fracture in both feet actually. Started out in my right foot, and because I compensated trying to favor that foot, I got it in the other one as well. And after that, I was a lot more cautious in how I treated my body and how I danced. You can't, you have to take care of your body. You have to take your vitamins. You have to warm up. You can't do anything careless because it could cost you. So since then, I've been pretty good. My record's been okay.
I haven't been hurt yet. Knock on wood. I have not been hurt yet, but anything can happen. I'll find something very simple. But I think with me, once being an athlete, if I do feel something that hurts, I'll just try and walk it off. I'm fine. And a lot of times it works, but then other times you find yourself really favoring it. And sometimes you can get through it, and sometimes you can't. Luckily, I've been able to get through it so far, but I'm sure, and I know for a fact that at some point I won't be able to make it through.
The injuries too with ballet are so specialized. It's not as if we can just put a splint on it and go out and knock each other over again. We have to put on a point shoe. We have to have on pink tights. We have to have this very pristine look, and it has to point at the end of the foot. So if it's swollen like a football, it's
Athletes
really
can
not
grunt and moan and make
aesthetically
faces. You can't do
beautiful.
that.
You still
And
have
then
to
you're supposed to jump,
smile.
Everything has to be easy.
do choreography and smile and be on the music. And it's just, also I think it's very difficult on your mind when you are injured. You just think, how can I perform? It doesn't feel right, and it's a really tough thing.
But that's the mark of a true performer also. When you are hurt and you feel like you can't make it, it's always something inside of you that makes you do it, and you always get through it. Because I've seen her do it, I've seen her do it, where you don't feel like you can make it, but you always do, somehow, so.
You find it within you to push your body to do more.
Because, as a performer, that's what you're there for. Even if you have the worst day or you're hurt, you have to make that audience feel as if you're having so much fun and you're enjoying it more than anything.
And getting Venetian blind.
Yeah, getting
When
it. That was very good. Turn it
Giving
on.
you those lines, I'd rather have it in front of your face.
Yeah, leave
The
the center.
lines. Yeah.
Okay. The
Acrobatic.
second question is the last question. And it's also for all of you to talk about. You probably have never talked about this to each other, maybe you have. But people in ballet, performers, always look terrific. They walk nicely, they move nicely. Even as a group yesterday, when you sat down in a break, you sat down like you were in a Botticelli painting in the groupings that you had. You'll see it in the documentary because some of them are just stunning, just how 20 people sat down. I couldn't have positioned you better.
Really?
Just absolutely amazingly. But talk about how it feels to be beautiful when you're performing, when you're walking. you know, just through life, because everyone thinks the ballerinas are beautiful. I don't know what a male ballerina is called,
Just a dancer.
a dancer,
I mean,
that they're so elegant, you know, that they can dance, or that they're homosexual, one or the other. But talk about how that feels to be beautiful, to be, I mean, when you dance, it's like Michael Jordan, they think that that's something, but he's nothing like, I mean, if he could be as smooth as you are.
Well, you know what? I feel like always a spectacle. You know, I feel like, why is everybody staring at me? And it's because maybe we're so flamboyant or something. But, you know, especially if we're all together, if dancers are together, they're so strange.
They're weird. They're so weird.
They're so odd.
Well, yeah, a big
I
part of it
just
is
know
that
that you-
everything on dance is based on visual.
Yeah, physicality.
Yeah, what you look like.
I think, this may sound real bad, but I think even the ugliest person, if they're a great dancer, can be beautiful. To me, beauty is to see someone dancing and not necessarily see what's outside of them, but to be able to feel the way they feel on the inside when they're dancing is like the most beautiful thing to me. I think that's one of the reasons why I love ballet so much. It's something that is so hard for me to do, but to be able to come into class and see people giving everything they have and dancing, and me being able to look at somebody and say, look at them, they really love what they're doing. They're having so much fun.
You know,
Or to see someone on stage, that's,
That's an American phenomenon too, because in Europe or in Russia, for instance, only the perfect children get to be dancers. In America, it's really like, boy, you can do it. Just try. You know, because there's so many small companies or specialized companies that cater to not your perfect body type. That because not everyone can be in New York City Ballet, but there sure are a lot of Atlanta ballets, and every city or New York City has quite a few companies that.
Well, you talk about the body and the physical, and yet, I don't know, 4 or 5 of you on break yesterday ran and got the jelly donut. What's the secret to keeping in shape and
Because
eating all the junk food?
you're on your feet from 10 until 6:45.
It's a full day's
And
workout.
you never get a,
and most of us get hypoglycemia and we're like jittery and crazy. So you have to keep filling your body with small amounts of food at least to keep you alive.
Yeah, it takes a lot of
But-
energy.
Yeah, I mean I eat far more than I do when I'm not dancing in the off season because I'm constantly moving.
I think people's perception of a ballet dancer is kind of warped from what it used to be.
Right.
Like, ballet dancers used to have to be this big around, and if you weren't this big around, don't even think about dancing. But now there's so many people who can be this big around and still make it. I don't understand. But I think that's one thing that's changed as far as ballet is the fact that people have become to accept different body types. So people are allowed to actually eat healthier than starving themselves to be a ballet dancer. They can go ahead and eat, but they know they're going to at least work it off or try to, without blowing up.
Is that also partly because ballet is being expanded to include other forms of dance and there's more acceptance because the style is changing
Yeah.
some?
Sure. I think that might be the reason.
Is that a good thing for you, or is that?
I think it's an exciting aspect to dance that I'm not just, they're not demanding of me just point shoe and pas de pas type things, which I love to do. They're a wonderful challenge and it's something I'm quite capable of doing, but I've never been chosen to be a barefoot organic dancer that I've always wanted to be because it's really fun to do that. And we do get to do that
Which
in
is
Atlanta.
really good.
The more styles that you do, I think the better dancer you become. Because you have to draw so many different things from yourself. And the more you draw from yourself, the more you grow as an artist and as a dancer. So, of course, doing different styles and different types of movement just make you better, There's
That's-
no reason to stay so one-tracked.
There's a lot of dancers who actually can do the many different styles, but they get themselves into a company where they're only allowed to do one thing.
Yeah.
So they end up losing the feel
Yeah.
and things like that for the other styles. So when they come back, they're kind of rusty and
Right. It
they end
limits
up
you.
not liking it. They're like, I used to really like this, but I can't do it anymore. I don't want to do this, you know? And I think with this company, the dancers are able to do ballets, contemporary works, you know, modern things, and it can keep them like going, you know, because you have such different